Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I want to record specifically some things for week 3 on emotional intelligence. So this will not only relate and expand upon the textbook reading, but I'll help prepare you also for the learning activity this week as you do a brief self-assessment and some reflection about your own EQ skills. Emotional intelligence is the ability to identify and manage your own emotions, as well as identify and relate to what other people are feeling, even if you've not been told. So we're specifically going to look at 4 domains. And one of the reasons this has been identified as so critical, even though the research on multiple intelligences, including emotional intelligence, has really been around since the late 1960s and 70s, it's getting a lot of increased attention today because of the nature of our work being nonstop change and relationship based. Being able to manage the ups and the downs of our day, as well as read other people, has become that much more critical. So as you think about the emotional intelligence material this week, really think about as you hone this, as you build those skills, it can lead certainly to increased leadership ability, increased team performance, improved decision making, decreased stress, yay, reduced staff turnover, and certainly increased personal well-being. One of the latest Gallup studies said that up to 58% of our work performance is based on this. So while we need the really good technical skills and professional skills that you've honed, if you can't read your own emotions and know how they affect you, and if you can't read emotions of other people and know how to reach out, you're going to be limited overall in your performance. Plus, as you see in some of the research, it's not only those 4 domains, but really a bonus 5th one, the ability to harness or be motivated by emotion to do what you need to do or reach out to others. So you can know how you're feeling. The question is, how motivated are you to want to do something about it? So that'll be the 5th area that kind of weaves in between and holds those 4 domains together. So why is this important? I mentioned briefly, up to 58% of our work performance is tied to this. Consider how much of your work includes other people. Not just even other people, but how your own productivity and focus and performance can be or is influenced by emotions. Let's try something else for just a moment. I want you to think about this. Triggers and hot buttons. These are kind of everyday kinds of situations that just wind us up faster. Sometimes they're just a pet peeve or something that just irritates you faster than maybe something else. So consider the 3 statements here. When I come into work and blank has happened, I know it's going to be a really long day. Think about what that might be for you. For some of you, that might be, when I walk into work and the computers are down, I know it's going to be a really long day. Or maybe it's the fact that you've gotten 5 emails and 2 phone calls before you even left home, right? So there's all sorts of things that can kind of begin our day off on the wrong foot. Or B, I'm frustrated at work when. Think about what frustrates you the most. What are some of those things that just maybe irritate you faster than something else? And yet it can be a positive emotion too. Look at letter C. I'm most motivated when. Think about those moments where you're just focused and getting stuff done. Know those moments where you just sit there and go, wow, I've been really productive this morning. I cleared through a lot of stuff. What we want to hone in on is our ability to harness that, recognize when we're off track, but really make sure that when we're on track, our efforts are being used as effectively as possible. So those 4 key domains that I mentioned, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. On the assessment that you are able to download in our week 3 materials, you'll see those 4 domains. So as you work through the 20 questions, you'll score your own ability on a scale from 1 to 5, 5 being a strength, 4, 3, 2, 1, not a strength. And so you'll answer those 20 questions, and then when you get to the end, you're going to add up the points for the questions listed there. So for 1, 3, 6, 9, etc., you're going to add up the points you gave. So you'll end up with 4 scores. Those 4 scores are represented in these 4 areas. One other note that I want to make about that is when you score it, that first question sometimes is a little hard. So let me just give you one example. And then certainly as you work through the other questions, if you have anything that I can help you with, just drop me a note, give me a call, reach out. I'll happily talk you through it. That first question on the assessment that you'll download out of week 3 materials. Associate different internal physical cues with different emotions. So think about what that is. That's really being in tune. People say to me, oops, let me go back here. My apologies. Let's go back. It's not going to let me go back. So you saw the 4 domains. I'm going to keep going with my example and then we'll proceed. So associate different internal physical cues of different emotions. So some people explain to me, can feel the heat coming up my cheeks. My palms get sweaty. I feel the tension in my back. If you know or pretty tuned in to the physical aspects of the way you feel emotion, that's a 5 or 4. Somewhere in the middle is a 3. 2, 1 is me. I score low on this one. I can be sitting at my desk. I'm working on something. All of a sudden, my body has just told me I've been rip-roaring mad for a little while. And I literally have to stop and think, whoa, where'd this come from? I have to walk it back through maybe my morning. Maybe it was 2 hours ago. And my brain is still processing a phone call or an email that I worked on then. That my emotion was still there, but I had moved on to other things. So as you take that assessment, again, there's no right or wrong. There's no way you can fail this, I promise. I want you to be as honest with yourself. Well, you'll share your reflections with me in the week 3 learning assignment by writing to me about it. I want you to be able to really hone in on what are those areas you need to work on. So let's look at those 4 domains. And here's what I want you focused on. After you take that assessment, think about what you could do in those areas. So look at your lowest score or your lowest set of scores. So if your self-awareness is lower than your self-management, right? So your self-awareness is lower than your self-management. Once you tune in, you're right on track, but could you pay attention a little sooner? Or if your self-awareness is higher than your self-management, you know it. The question is ripple effect, how many other people know it, or your ability to calm yourself down. So let's look at those 2 first. Self-awareness, your ability to understand and be aware of your feelings. So this is your score number 1. So some things you could choose to write to me about if you want to work on your score in this area. Quit treating feelings as good or bad. So observe the ripple effect of your emotions. Think about this. If you've ever said, I shouldn't feel this way. I don't know why I'm so upset. I tell people all the time as I'm coaching within workplaces, hey, if you're angry, own it. Yep, I'm mad. Now, what do you want to do with it? So just paying attention to how you feel those feelings, what gets affected, and that they're not good or bad. They are what they are. So feeling your emotions physically is important. Knowing who and what pushes your buttons is another great way to increase self-awareness. Stopping and asking yourself, why do I do this? Why does this bother me? Can add some additional reflection. Or just look for those things that cue up your emotion, maybe faster than something else. Like spotting your emotions in books or movies. Some people say certain genres or certain types of movies or certain types of books just stick with them. So make sure that if that's you, then just paying attention to, is that something you is good for right now? Music can also do it. It's why our memories are often cued by an emotion that's attached to a song. And even some sports enthusiasts among us have gotten pretty excited about certain types of athletic events, or we're pretty passionate about our team. Now, that's not everybody's thing, but if it's yours, think about how that might be impacting you. Let's look at self-management. So self-management was your second score. It's your capacity to balance emotions so they don't interfere with daily goals. So for example, sometimes we just need to take a deep breath, count to 10 or maybe 100. Some of us need longer. Sleep. Sometimes you just need sleep. One of the things that as an organizational psychologist, if I get called in, a lot of times it's to work with a director or manager who's at risk or just struggling. And one of my first set of questions for them is, are you getting good sleep? There are times in our lives where we're not getting good sleep, but think about this. If you're not getting good sleep, how in control of your emotions are you? Probably not very well. So really look at your sleep patterns. And if it's just a tough time in life for you to be able to get good sleep, do what you can to protect the amount that you have. Sometimes we also just need to sleep on it or take a break, be able to walk away and clear our head and come back with a new perspective. No doubt, trying to balance the emotions, we need to continue to find humor, smiling and laughing more. We do need to set aside some time for problem solving. So just a little bit of time, doesn't have to be huge amounts of hours, but just even at the end of your day, noting those key priorities for tomorrow can help you come back in tomorrow much more focused and ready to go. Taking control of your self-talk. Some of us remember the cartoons where there's a little angel on one shoulder and a little devil on the other shoulder, and they said certain things to the owner, right? So just really thinking about those voices. What are they telling you? Are you telling yourself good stuff all day long, or are you winding up and winding everybody else up? Maybe something just instead of venting to one person, you vent to 10 people. So just really paying attention to how you do that. We always want to focus on what we can do, not just what we can't do. It's a great element to self-management. Speaking to somebody who is not emotionally invested into your problems. So certainly good to find that person who can give you fresh perspective, not going to wind up with you and get each other all riled up. Really think about that person who can provide some balance or some insight. So those first two scores, again, if they're higher or lower, you can think about which one you want to work on. If they're the same, then I want you to compare that set of scores to your second set of scores. So is it the self stuff you need to work on, or is it the people stuff you need to work on? So you could look at it that way too. Social awareness. This is your third score. Your ability to understand how others are feeling without being told. So this is really important to pay attention to body language, right? When you are reading a room, this is what you know is when you walk into a meeting and you can just tell, whoa, something's up. That's social awareness. Or you walk into your place of work and you're like, everybody's in a good mood. Must be the end of our work week, right? So it's just picking up on those cues. Greeting people by name. Using their name is one way to get a pretty quick, what we call micro behavior. If you use my name in a genuine way, you say, hey, Selena, it's good to see you today. When you use my name, there is a chance, it's not 100%, but a chance that I might give you a, and my shoulders go up, my chin goes up a little bit, and I start smiling. But if you walk up to me and say, hey, Selena, it's great to see you today, and I go, it might give you a clue that maybe I'm not in a good spot, or maybe I'm just not happy in the moment, right? So just really paying attention to body language and paying attention to timing. Just because we can walk up to each other at work does not mean that person is listening. So is this the time to walk up to the person? If I'm trying to walk up to you and you have a 3 o'clock deadline and it's 2:45 and I know my stuff's not urgent, then I shouldn't be bugging you right now, unless my stuff has something to do with your 3 o'clock deadline. And then I just need to qualify it. Hey, I know you're in the middle of something. I have some information for you that needs to go out in that 3 o'clock piece. Just some things to think about. No doubt for social awareness, we need to be present in the moment. Listen, really listen. Social awareness also can be improved by really taking the time to see it from other people's perspective. Sometimes we just need to step back and look at that whole picture. And again, catching the mood of the room. If you can pick up on those social cues a little bit earlier, then you can be an even stronger professional, contributor, family member, community member, lots of ways that this applies. So that social awareness was your third score. Fourth score, relationship management. Your ability to get along with others and to establish a positive relationship. So again, here's an opportunity to build relationships. I'm absolutely convinced that as professionals, it is so important we understand that every phone call, every meeting, every face-to-face, every text message, everything we do represents us as a professional. And so each action we take either can strengthen the relationships around us or take away from it. So acknowledging the other person's feelings. Hey, it seems like it's been a really tough week. And they say, yeah, it has been a tough week. It's just one way to kind of check in and get a temperature read. Do you know how they're feeling and how can you best help? Don't avoid the inevitable. Have the tough conversation. It's so important we're not avoiding conflict. And we're going to explore that a little bit later in the course. When you care, show it. Explain decisions when you can. Don't just make them. Avoid giving mixed signals. Sure, I'm fine. But I'm not. So just making sure that I don't say, oh yeah, really, I'm listening to you, but I'm multitasking on something else. If you're mad, know the reason. It's okay to be mad. Just know it. Why, right? We need to continue to make our feedback direct and constructive as we're trying to help other people improve, but we also need to receive feedback well, meaning if you are honestly trying to approach me to give me some feedback, I need to check my ego. I need to make sure I don't go, well, and I start making excuses and reduce accountability. I need to take a deep breath, and even if I don't agree with you, I need to make sure that I consider it and thank you for being willing to tell me, because I tell you what, I get defensive on you, I start resisting, you're not going to be willing to come tell me it next time. So those 4 domains, these are just some suggestions. There's so many different ideas that can come up in each of these categories. But what I really want you doing this week is considering where you're at as you compare it to the textbook reading. What are some of those personality styles and characteristics, your emotional intelligence components from this assignment? What are those things about you, your strengths, that are helping you reach your goals? And then what are some of the things that might be holding you back that we need to be aware of on our personal side and our professional side? Let's take just a little longer here. So some other ways to apply this, and I'm just going to give you a few last resources here while we wrap up this particular video. So I got to own my own stuff, right? Number 1, own it. If I'm doing it, then it's on me. So I just have to continue to say, you know what? I say to my team every day, I make mistakes every day. I just try not to repeat the same ones, right? So I have to own my own stuff. If I'm not doing something that's productive for my team, that's on me. Number 2, I need to keep modeling my best. If there are some things that I'm not doing well, if I want other people to have confidence in me and trust me to take care of my responsibilities, I need to keep owning it and modeling my best. I need to recognize the skills and help teach them. So, to my team members, even to my clients and my customers, just to be more in tune with them has huge advantages. We need to continue to talk about emotional intelligence and just really being understanding of where people are at, meet them there and bring them with us. Sharing resources also, there's huge amounts of resources out there on emotional intelligence, dealing with different personality styles, any of that we can stir up in our teams and our companies, just to engage in some of those conversations, really, really important. So as a student, as part of this program, I want you to have increased awareness of this. How can you model it? How can you help other people into this conversation just to be able to understand it a little bit better? Few other ideas to think about. Keep a reflection journal or emotion log. This is a technique often used in coaching so that you know when you're feeling the feeling and what's going on. So you can just recognize some of your own patterns. Remember examples when you felt various emotions, anger, frustration, joy. Sometimes we just need to pause and slow down. Practice being calm, be authentic, acknowledge your own limits. Know your values, live them. Model organizational expectations and hold yourself accountable. Let's look at a few more. Remember your why. Why was this project or volunteering with this group or your particular work with a client or a customer so important? What is it that you're serving students and they keep you going? And it's that moment of graduation when you recognize somebody walking across the stage. Those are the moments that need to keep us going. We also need to keep in mind our boundaries. We need to be hopeful and find the good in things. We need to practice viewing it from just different perspectives. What does this look like from that department? What does this look like from that shift? Maybe they were considering? Being able to see it from other ways is really important as well. Respond to, not react to feelings. So just knowing that we have a choice. We can react, but if we can hit that pause button and choose our response, we're going to probably make a healthier response. Don't avoid that conflict. You're going to hear me say that a number of times in this course, because when in organizations and teams, we get stuck. We don't mind MINE conflict. It goes underground, right? And so when we avoid conflict, it doesn't typically go away. It just simply tends to fester and even snowball or expand on us later. So we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper, but it affects everything about a team and an organization and the decisions we make. We need to continue to improve communication, looking for those ways to be both efficient and effective. And we need to make sure that we're giving appreciation to others. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. So take the assessment. You can call me, email me, or text me about questions you have about your scores. We can certainly have that conversation in a number of ways. But when you write that up for me, I really want you thinking about this course, this material, and what are the things you need to work up professionally? What are those areas? So I set up to 2 pages. Again, it might be a page, page and a half. You do what has the most meaning for you. What I want to see is that you've been thoughtful about it. You dug deep. You shared something out of the assessment with me with a plan. You also see at the end of that handout, at the end of the assessment, there are 2 questions. Make sure that you address those as well. Absolutely fun to share a few ideas with you. And as we get started on week 3, let me know if there's anything I can do to help this course be even better for you. I know we are a small but mighty group. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.